The recent disqualification of Lewis Hamilton at the Chinese Grand Prix has taken an unexpected twist, evolving from a seemingly straightforward technical violation into a burgeoning controversy within the Formula One community. Fresh evidence suggests a potential explanation for the Ferrari setup issues, dramatically altering the initial understanding of the situation. Behind the scenes, engineers, analysts, and rival teams are collaborating to uncover the potential cause of the excessive plank wear that led to Hamilton's loss of his sixth-place finish. This situation transcends a simple case of a car running too low. It hints at a fundamental flaw in Ferrari's management of ride height and the crucial data they may have overlooked before the race commenced. From incomplete preseason simulations to unanticipated consequences of adjustments made between the sprint race and the main event, clues are beginning to surface, raising significant questions not only for Ferrari, but also for the FIA's technical regulations. The implications of this situation are extensive, reaching far beyond the confines of a single race weekend. Shortly after the conclusion of the race in Shanghai, Ferrari's hopes were dealt a severe blow. While Hamilton secured a sixth-place finish, and Charles Leclerc brought his car home in fifth, seemingly salvaging valuable points after a challenging start to the 2025 season, the subsequent events turned the entire weekend upside down. Both Ferrari cars were disqualified following post-race inspections. Leclerc's car was found to be below the minimum weight requirement, while Hamilton's car was penalized due to excessive plank wear. Initially, these appeared to be simple compliance errors, a type of mistake that top-tier teams rarely commit. However, a new theory is emerging that may clarify the underlying reasons for these issues, revealing a far more intricate picture of Ferrari's 2025 campaign. Focusing on Hamilton's disqualification, the skid block located on the car's underside, known as the plank, is designed to enforce a minimum ride height. If the car operates at a ride height that is too low, the plank will experience excessive wear, violating the minimum thickness requirement of 9 mm. In Hamilton's case, post-race measurements indicated that the plank had worn below this threshold, measuring 6 mm on the left, 6 mm on the center line, and 5 mm on the right. Ferrari acknowledged the error, validated the accuracy of the measurements, and confirmed the absence of any mitigating circumstances. Consequently, the FIA applied an automatic disqualification. However, subsequent analysis suggests that the issue was not merely a simple miscalculation. According to emerging paddock insights, Ferrari may have been compromised by a ride height problem originating from a deficiency in dry running data. Specifically, during preseason testing in Bahrain, Hamilton's SF25 encountered a mechanical problem that prevented the team from completing a full race simulation with him. As a result, they lacked essential data regarding the car's performance over extended periods with heavy fuel loads on a dry track. During the Chinese Grand Prix, the first fully dry race Hamilton has completed this season, the absence of this critical data may have had negative consequences. The prevailing hypothesis suggests that after increasing the ride height in Australia to accommodate the bumpy street circuit and wet conditions, Ferrari subsequently lowered it again for China, anticipating a smoother tarmac and a more predictable track surface. However, without the benefit of a thorough dry race simulation, they may have misjudged the optimal setup. The underperformance might stem from an improperly calibrated vehicle height, with engineers perhaps misjudging how the skid block would erode due to fuel load and intense race conditions. Furthermore, Hamilton's triumph in the sprint race could have concealed this issue, given the sprint's shorter duration and distinct fuel and tire management. Consequently, the team's oversight becomes more comprehensible. Supporting this notion is the fact that Leclerc's exclusion arose from an entirely unrelated problem. Following initial front-wing damage, Ferrari replaced Leclerc's wing before the mandated post-race vehicle weight check, as per regulations. However, even with the heavier replacement wing installed, the car still weighed 1 kilogram less than the minimum of 800 kilograms after fuel drainage. This signifies a miscalculation in the initial wing and fuel assessments, another infrequent yet costly error from a top-tier organization. While the FIA acknowledged Ferrari's adherence to procedural guidelines, they found no extenuating factors to justify the weight discrepancy, leading to the disqualification. This incident has triggered a fresh examination of Ferrari's setup, methodology, and the potential sensitivity of the SF25 to subtle ride height modifications. If the vehicle's aerodynamics are excessively reliant on a narrow ride height range, what engineers term a peaky aerodynamic platform, it becomes considerably easier to exceed regulatory boundaries unintentionally. A vehicle with a wider operational window can accommodate bumps, varying fuel reserves, and curb contacts with less risk. In contrast, a peaky car such as Ferrari's might achieve superior performance when ideally adjusted, but suffer significantly when even slightly outside the optimal range. This could account for the skid block wear and inconsistent performance throughout different segments. What intensifies Hamilton's disappointment is that he seemingly did not directly cause any of these problems. As a driver, he excelled when required during the sprint, even securing his first Ferrari pole position and subsequent victory. Throughout the main race, he persevered despite setup constraints and team communication difficulties, including the widely publicized radio exchange with Adami. Nevertheless, his efforts were undermined by what now appears to be a more fundamental systemic issue within Ferrari's race planning and setup validation. Following the race, Hamilton seemed remarkably subdued. While he refrained from publicly criticizing the team's handling of the situation, his terse comments hinted at growing dissatisfaction. He mentioned experiencing a lack of rear grip and difficulty rotating the car effectively in low-speed corners, symptoms consistent with an unstable aerodynamic platform and possibly a suboptimal overly low setup. He communicated his disappointment, particularly considering his tenacious efforts during the race, despite the early wing damage. The ramifications of this dual disqualification are substantial. Ferrari now lags behind the championship leaders by a significant margin, and both drivers have forfeited valuable points. However, beyond the championship standings, the bond between driver and team, particularly with Hamilton still acclimating to his new environment, is being tested. An organization such as Ferrari cannot afford repeated errors in fundamental areas, like ride height and vehicle weight. These are foundational aspects, and lapses in these areas raise questions not only about execution, but also about internal processes and safeguards. Emerging evidence and analysis indicate that Ferrari's error might not have been simply a careless mistake, but rather a structural flaw stemming from a lack of real-world data, a potentially overly aggressive setup philosophy, and a vehicle that might be too sensitive to consistently perform throughout race weekends. If this analysis holds true, Ferrari must do more than offer apologies and move forward. They must comprehensively reassess their ride height calibration procedures, enhance the accuracy of their simulations by improving track correlation, and ensure that both Hamilton and have complete access to accurate and reliable data for vehicle setup decisions. The recent issues serve as more than just a minor hurdle for Hamilton. They highlight a crucial need for reliable equipment. His move to Ferrari was motivated by the ambition to secure a record-breaking 8th World Championship. Realizing this, vision depends heavily on Ferrari's capacity to produce a vehicle that not only demonstrates speed, but also consistent performance, dependability, and adaptability to various track conditions. In the fiercely competitive landscape of modern Formula One, even the most subtle technical flaw can undermine an entire weekend's efforts. The problems Ferrari is facing extend beyond mere lap times. Critical examination of disqualifications, radio communications, and strategic calls during races reveals a deeper narrative that could significantly influence the championship's outcome. These underlying issues, such as car setup vulnerabilities, procedural errors, or communication failures, suggest that Ferrari needs to undergo rapid improvements to effectively challenge top contenders such as McLaren and Red Bull in the long term. With Hamilton entering a vital phase of the season and Leclerc seeking stability amidst technical uncertainties, the pressure within the team is intensifying. Each practice run, qualifying lap, and race could determine whether they remain competitive in the title chase or succumb to a season marred by missed opportunities and preventable mistakes. The tolerance for error in Formula One is exceedingly narrow and continues to diminish. The season is intensifying, stakes are escalating, and each race brings unexpected developments. To remain informed about all the key moments of the season, it's essential to stay connected. The challenges that Ferrari faces indicate that the team must evolve swiftly to remain competitive. The upcoming races will be crucial in determining whether Ferrari can overcome these obstacles and realize its championship aspirations.